Hey, this is Joe Brown with Lighter Shade of Brown. I am joined today by legendary UFC coach, John Crouch.
How you doing?
Good, yourself?
Man, thanks for having me in.
Hey, so we're going to start something. I wanted to try something new, and I wanted to ask, and I'm looking at your drink, what is your morning beverage of choice? How do you get the day started? Is it coffee, tea?
I hate coffee.
Okay.
My parents, I lived on a ranch. We used to go cut our Christmas trees in Colorado.
Nice.
So we drive up to this mountain range, took forever, and they forgot water, and they brought coffee. And I tried it, and that was the last time. And I was 8 years old or something, and it was terrible. I couldn't believe it. I was sad. I had to eat snow. And then, so I never drank coffee. That's iced tea.
Okay.
But lately, my friend Phil, who I just interviewed, he has a brand called Tatsu tea that he just put into Sprouts. And he sent me a couple of cases. So that's been my go-to for the last couple of months.
Nice. Super healthy, unlike the crap I get from Starbucks that I'm just trying to get going because I'm struggling in the morning. But
get a little kickstart.
Get a little, just 3 shots of espresso. Yeah, little mocha, a little white mocha in there, and then some cream on top. So yeah, that's kind of my my morning ritual to get me started, so I have some energy to.
Well, you need
come in
energy
here.
for your day.
Tell me about it. So you know what? You are a legend. And you know what? The funny thing, I was just telling somebody, I said, look at you. This is how you can't judge people on the street. I look at you. No offense, John. I look at you.
Here we go.
Yeah, here it is. And I look at you and I go, I could have whipped that guy's ass. You would fucking be up in like 5 seconds. That's how you can't judge a book by its cover. I mean, your knowledge and your ability, what's led you to choose coaching versus maybe pursuing a professional career when you're younger, or I'm just curious about that. How you went one way or the other. There's those that teach, those that go and do, and then maybe come back and teach. But you've always been just a phenomenal coach from the beginning, and I'm just curious how you made that choice.
It always seemed to be the thing for me. I mean, I played football, and I ended up coaching Little League kind of at the same time, and I enjoyed it. I was terrible at it, but I just helped. And then I graduated high school. I was a marching band guy. I was a drum major in the marching band. And then I came back after a horrendous first semester away, which I had a really cute girlfriend and a solid 1.6 grade point average.
How do those two go hand in hand?
Yeah, it didn't go great for me.
No, a lot of stories like
and
that.
And then my ex-band director, my old high school, asked me to help. And I have a few state championships there. So I taught marching band my whole life. My mom got me a gift certificate to a taekwondo school, and I started training. I liked it. The guy started teaching us jiu-jitsu because he was a police officer, and he went to the Gracie Academy, and Royce Gracie was the first UFC champion.
Yeah.
And he trained with them, brought it back, and I thought, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And I ended up going there for the summer, training jiu-jitsu in LA for the summer. Loved it. Applied for their instructors program. They accepted me. And that was that. I loved training, but I was already 30 years old when I started.
It's never too late to figure out when you start or find your path. I always say that too. I don't think I was, I became a lawyer. I was in my late 20s.
Yeah.
And I still wasn't sure this is what I wanted to do until I actually started doing it. But I just curious too, because I personally love to coach. Like, I dream of, one day flag football. Flag football was my thing. I loved coaching my son in flag football. We did tackle football. He went all the way, played through high school, and I played through high school, but I just loved the coaching at the flag football level. And now I see, with girls flag football, I think it's going to be unbelievable. It's in the Olympics now. So it's one of those things that I'm like, someday it's my dream. I'm going to retire and coach flag football.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
So I think that'd be fun. So I'm always curious about other people who enjoy coaching, because I just think it's so rewarding to me, at least, when you see people do something that you've taught and you see their face light up when they realize, wow, I just accomplished something. And I think sports in general is just, I prefer to hire anybody who's played sports.
Yeah.
You know what it's like to get your ass kicked and then get back up and then go and perform. And that's what an athlete of any athlete, no matter what you play, baseball, whether you're a fighter, whether you play football, whatever, you've gotten your ass kicked and you've had to get back up and then persevere.
100%.
And that's life. That's the real world. And I think that's part of what a lot of the young generation misses, because frankly, I think a lot of the coaching, I don't know if I could coach now, because they're soft. They're, no, Johnny, you did it wrong, but do it better this time. When I was a kid, it was like drop and give me 20 push-ups and then get back out there and do it right. I just don't know how it is. But
I remember my coach I was 10, grabbing my face mask and shaking the bones out of me and then saying some things that you wouldn't want to say.
Yeah.
Nowadays, probably get you fired.
I had the same thing.
Throwing me back in the game like we did as older school guys, So it is hard to adapt. And coaching has to adapt, It's more information. And for me, I train professional athletes. So if they're not motivated, you're in the wrong thing. You should go do something else. So it's pretty easy. High school kids and junior high kids and, just getting boys to pay attention, I think sometimes takes a little more, a harsher edge, like you're saying.
Yeah. Trust me, I did the same thing. I think I had my face mask grabbed, a clipboard broken over my head, over my helmet, and then sent back in the game 2 plays later.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, that's what you did. Stop jumping off sides.
Yeah.
How many times are they going to get you? Watch the damn ball. So those are all, I think, things that help develop me into who I am. And I think that's what's great. And that's why I really respect you as a coach is you're developing young men into professional athletes. But more than that, you're developing young men. You just had the LFAs last week that I was at, and I noticed something very particular, and I really enjoy that. And it's one of the reasons I really admire you is there's a lot of shit talking. There's a lot of, bravado, and frankly, some of it's, over the top. I never saw that from your fighters. Your fighters always came up with class. They always, whether they won or lost, they acted with class. And that is something that the UFC doesn't really always have.
Yeah.
And I think it's admirable because that shows you. That's a direct response to how you coach them and the respect they have for you. And I got to tell you that I watched that every single fighter that went up there, no matter what, they handled themselves with class. And I got to tell you that that's something you should be applauded for.
Well, that's a hard moment.
Yeah.
There, when you're and fighting, it's very personal. I mean, football games are bad. You lose and you're mad, and the UFC at the highest level, they reward bad behavior.
Yeah.
In some ways, if you're good enough, you can kind of do anything you want.
Yep.
And they were bought by the entertainment company, and now they're working with Paramount. It's getting more and more WWE oriented.
Yeah.
For me, it's an athletic event. So. Ben Henderson, who's my guy, Ben.
Yep.
We started this journey kind of together. I started coaching him as an amateur 20 years ago. I think it was 19 years we've been together doing this. And he's never liked that. He kind of taught it to me.
Yeah.
I used to talk a lot. Like I liked watching Lawrence Taylor videos coming up
LT was
playing
legit,
football.
yeah.
And so I thought that's the way you did it. And Ben never said a word.
No.
And he just won, and he was always cool, and it was never about anything else but the performance. And so his influence has been stronger than anything in developing that culture that you're talking about.
Yeah, I think it's tremendous, and I think it needs to be applauded. It needs to be perpetuated more.
I agree.
They always say, like when you played football, when you get to the end zone, act like you've been there before.
Yes, sir.
And I just watched every single fighter walk in, every single one of them behaved in the same manner, with the same respect for what they were there for, with the same. They were intense. Don't get me wrong. But they didn't need to pound their chest about their intention. They didn't need to shit talk the other person.
Yeah.
They got up for their fight, and more times than not, they won their fight. But you know what? I love the respect they had for what they were doing. And that's kind of, I've been wanting to say that, so I hadn't had a chance to.
Well, thanks.
So,
we don't seem to draw the other kind very much.
Yeah.
Like I've had people come that are a little bit more on the other side of it, and they don't seem to like it. Like they don't like our place, our culture. So God bless them, but I like it like that. I feel like that very much. The other person's, say you win or lose, whatever happens, I fight you, and I win or lose. Well, your mom's in the crowd, and she's proud of you, and your daughters are there, and they're sad or happy, and your brothers and your friends and your work. It's like we're all doing this together. Yeah. For me, it's a collaboration. Our competition, we're creating something that's never been created before, ever, and it'll never be recreated. And how cool is that? And it's hard to look at it like that, but that is what it is, and we're all humans trying to achieve this together. So
100%. And you know what? And you had a couple of highs and a couple of lows, and I think the lab just performed well, and I think they reflected you exceptionally well. And I enjoyed my time watching the fights. And I do like your guy Benson. I think he's just
he's the best.
He's just a salt of the earth kind of guy. I think you guys are a really good team. Speaking of that, what made you start the lab? I mean, you're in LA, you're with Gracie, you're one of their, trainers. What makes you leave that and then do this? How do you get there?
So for me, I went there because I wanted to start my own academy, right? So I left there as a purple belt after 6 years and went back home to Colorado. I started teaching jiu-jitsu very poorly. It was a badly run business. I don't know what that guy was doing, but Ben was in college wrestling. My first guy that came in he told me, he walked in, I had 5 students. He's like, I want to fight in the UFC. And I'm like, okay, we'll give it a shot. And we got there. Alvin Robinson is his name. And Ben was a fan of Alvin. Alvin's ex-teammate was now teammates with Ben.
Okay.
And Ben's like, I'd like to fight. And he said, I know where a place. So Ben traveled from Blair, Nebraska down to Denver, checked it out, liked it, moved to Denver. Very shortly after that, a good friend of mine opened the lab in Phoenix. And I didn't know he did. Okay. And I saw him and I was like, why didn't you hire me? He's like, I thought you were happy in Denver. I'm like, dude. I came down, I liked it. And so then he hired me to be part of it. And Benson followed me down to Phoenix.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So then you're working for this guy, and then ultimately you end up buying it from him, and the two of you become partners?
Yeah, he's a good fundraiser, this guy.
Yeah.
Like, he raised a lot of money, but he wasn't really into the gym business. So it wasn't going super well. That money's running out, and I think he was ready to just let it go as an experiment, and we weren't ready to do that.
Yeah.
So we kind of took the place over and have been running it probably, I guess, 12 years or so, 13 years.
Well, then obviously the proof's in the pudding. You're putting out a lot of MMA fighters,
a
lot of UFC fighters. The business is still here. Anybody who's run a business knows that it's not easy to keep a business.
No,
so clearly you're doing something right, because running a business, no matter what the business is, whether it's a gym, a law firm, a Circle K, it is not easy. And it's not easy to keep that momentum going, because it does take a lot of ownership. And obviously I think you like I said, the proof's in the pudding. You're killing it out there.
Well, you've heard that saying, like, you do something you love and you never work a day.
Yes.
And then I heard somebody else, the line after that was like, or you work every day for the rest of your life. And I feel like that's for business owners. I mean, there's probably never a moment that you stop thinking about.
It's funny. I laughed because that is my life. I mean, I feel like I'm here. I woke up this morning at 4:30 thinking about 2 things I needed to do on cases.
Yeah.
I mean, so I completely live that mantra.
Yeah.
And I was just talking to someone about it. I'm like, I need to learn to delegate more, and I need to learn to let people do that. But it's hard when no one else can do it the way you do it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I just want to take over certain cases that are in the firm, because I'm like, I know I can get the most money. and I know how to beat the snot out of this insurance company or this adjuster or this lawyer, whatever it may be. And it's and frankly, it's what I love to do.
But you only have so many hours. There's only one Joe Brown.
There is.
Right?
There is.
And so how do you do that? And I, like you said, it's very hard to run a business.
Yeah.
Ben's mom owned he got his work ethic from his mom. His mom's this little Korean lady. She's this tall. And he said she just worked at that store from like 5 a.m. She'd come home at 8, had 2 boys to raise, didn't make much money, and just worked her tail to the bone.
Yeah.
And so, that's what owning a business is.
It truly is. And it's nice that you got a good partner, though. So that is helpful, that you've got someone there who's got the same work ethic. That's the problem with partnerships. And I personally went through a partnership, breakup. And it's when you don't see things eye to eye, whether it's vision or work ethic or hours in the office or results or whatever, or a bunch of all of that, it's always tough. So it's the fact that you've got a great partner, the two of you have been able to put that together for as long as you have, that's also admirable and something's good. So tell me, switch subject, who is maybe your favorite athlete that you've coached and said, hey, listen, this is my favorite? Was it Benson?
Has to be.
Yeah,
it's an easy answer.
Yeah, I figured that was probably easy.
And then after that, it's a tie for second.
Yeah. It's a what?
There's 2,000.
2,000. Yeah, I was gonna say there's 2,000 people over there. Yeah. So who? Maybe let me put it a different way. Who's the athlete that maybe surprised you the most? Like, hey, you first met them and you're like, they're okay, but I don't know if they're UFC quality. And then later they're like, yeah, they're kicking ass. And probably the work ethic and obviously coaching. But, do you have any athlete that kind of stands out like that?
Well, just recently, Mario Bautista won his main event at the UFC. I think it was three weeks ago.
Yeah, I think it was
like that. Mario came in, a kid from Winnemucca. There's an old picture of him, Sugar Sean, and Kyler Phillips, and they were all 18 and 19 years old. They had just started at the lab. It was one of Ben's championship fights, and they look like babies. They look like, they should be in an elementary school. And they all came here with dreams of being in the UFC. All three are now. But Mario, Ben, he had a job installing windshields and he had a hard time making it. I was like, it's okay, kid. We'll get back in here. And we'd text him and call him, and he'd feel bad. And he made it back. Ben helped him, actually scholarshiped him a little bit. And he always told me he was his number one draft pick. And I was like, well, yeah. I mean, he's a great kid.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. And turns out he just kept working for, 11 years. And here he is in the top 5 in the UFC, main event winner, and just a great guy. And that, I wouldn't say it surprised me because Ben was the same way. I didn't know he was going to be Ben.
Yeah.
I just knew that he showed up and worked right every day.
Yeah.
I think if you keep doing that and you keep, taking the breaks that you can get there. So probably Mario Bautista.
I think that's a good choice, and that's a great story to hear because I think it's the epitome of what you do in fighting and just life in general. He persevered. It maybe took him a little longer than somebody else, but he got there because he would not give up his dream, and he continued to fight and fight and fight. And I think that resonates for any sport or anything. I mean, just across the world. In everything everybody does. The people who are successful are the people who will not accept failure. You're going to lose fights, but you learn from that, and I think that's the key is same thing. I'm going to lose cases. I mean, I haven't lost many cases, but I can tell you, I've lost, I can picture every one of them.
Yeah.
And every one of them, I took something from it and I learned from it, whether it was, better selection of clients or better selection of cases or learn to be a better lawyer or whatnot. But every one of those losses or setbacks, and for me, a loss sometimes isn't necessarily that we got 0. It's just that maybe we've got half of what I thought we should have gotten.
Yeah, didn't get the result you were after.
Didn't get it exactly. And I think that's just life. And I think if you learn from life, if you learn from your setbacks, and there's more to be learned from a setback than a success. By far, I believe that, then you'll be successful in life.
Yeah.
And I think as men, we internalize those things and we don't always handle loss as well. I know I struggle with it.
As you get older, you get used to it, right? And you learn how to turn those. As a younger man, it was harder.
Yeah.
But I think some people like Mario, like Benson, they're able to turn it over faster than I was as a young man. As I'm older now, I try to keep a distant perspective to help because each individual I coach is different, and some of them don't have necessarily the best physical attributes. And so how do you use that now to catapult them forward in their career? But you're right. I think fighting is like everything in life. That is life.
Yeah.
What somebody said, some smart Greek guy said, life is more like wrestling than dancing, And it is. It's fighting. You're winning and losing and getting put in bad positions and fighting your way out. So your idea of you keep persevering is the right one. That's the people that'll come out on top.
Well, I think that lends us to our marriage, with Accident Law Group in the lab. And I think that the reason we were excited to partner with you guys is because I think that's who we are as a firm. We're the fighters firm and we fight and we're going to keep fighting. And there are times when it's easy or other firms would say, we'll take the settlement and walk away. And we're like, no, we're going to go ahead and file that lawsuit and we're going to keep pushing. And I think that's who I am. And it was really great to meet you and Benson and share and see how you are the exact same way, only in a different field.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's really the key to our marriage. And why I think it's simpatico, as they say, is watching you do what you do. It inspires me to do what I do, and I think that finding people like that no matter what field it is key to being successful. And I know it's key for me to kind of keep remotivating me to want to push and get better and get bigger and do what's right. You know, we have a saying around here: you do what's right for the client, the money will take care of itself.
Yep.
We don't think money first. We always think client first. Sometimes, that means we may lose the case. We may tell the client they drop the case. When we may have invested hours and money and thousands of dollars in the case, but it may not be a result, but it's what's best for the client. I've had that case. I've had a client that I had a really strong opinion of, and I thought her case was worth a lot, but the insurance company denied it. But she had a really bad traumatic brain injury, and she was not in a position to litigate that case.
Right.
That could have ultimately put her in a position that mentally that was far worse than where she was. So we had to make a decision as a firm and as with her, and we sat down and said, "What do you want to do?" And ultimately, she said, "I just want to walk away." And we'd put in a couple of years in that case, and I'd spent my probably $10,000 of my own money into that case. And I said, "You know what? That's what's best for you. We're good with that. We're fine. If that's what you want to do, we're not going to push you."
That's great.
And I think that's the mentality we try to take care. Like I said, our mantra is definitely do what's right for the client. The money will follow.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of firms that say, get to the money and get to the money as fast as you can.
But we've talked about it a lot with the team lately, and I think about it. It's about the process. You can't be results oriented.
No.
If you're staring at the top of the mountain, you are going to trip over the rock in front of you. And so to orient yourself on your goal, okay, this is where I'm going, and then you study the path where you're going, and you look up again every once in a while. But if you don't take care of the steps in front of you, you'll never reach the top of the mountain.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to do the same thing no matter what you're doing. If you're working at that convenience store, like Benson's mom, she knew, she had a goal. She was going to make what she needed to make to support her children and give them the life that she wanted to give them.
Yeah. Give her boys what she never had,
Exactly. And then, and her son's a UFC champion.
Yeah.
And a pretty successful businessman and probably one of the nicest people I've ever met too.
I think one of the best men I've ever known. 100%. He's the best guy.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
So last week you had the LFAs. So you had some wins, some losses. Sum up the fight for me as a coach. What'd you take from that event? Positive, maybe one positive, one negative. Because as a spectator, I'm always curious. I'm sitting there, I'm watching you, and I'm thinking, what's going through his mind? What's he thinking? When he's up there and when he's walking away.
Sheer irritation still. Like, I want to win them all.
Yeah.
And I'm insanely competitive, but it's different as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get your athletes to compete right. I knew going into the event, a lot of those were 50-50 fights. Like, we had some tough matchups. And sometimes it's not like that in a home city. I don't know if you know that, but they'll put the A side against somebody that they're going to make sure the guy that sold all the tickets wins the fight.
Gotcha.
And that wasn't necessarily true with us. Especially in the main event, those fights, the main card, those were all very competitive fights, or on paper they were. So the positives were Alec Lorenz, who he's a great kid, and he moved here to be part of the fight team to make his UFC dream come true. He was in the Contender Series last year and lost. He had a bad first-round loss, and it hurt his soul a little bit. And he's come back, and to see him get a first-round knockout over a pretty tough guy, that was awesome. That was a positive. I think the biggest positive is the way the team hangs in there together. Like, everybody works together. We're all there. Everybody's doing their thing. Good or bad, we're there. That is the positive. The negative is that it's a hard step for those kids' careers.
Yeah.
In MMA, you don't get to fight that much. Like in wrestling, you get to wrestle again next week.
Yeah.
That was too bad. But we'll get that guy in regionals. We'll get him at states. And this, it sets you back, and you have to win. If you lose one, you got to win 3 more to make that one back. So that's tough because you're looking at a year of their life where they're making little to no money, working really hard on another job maybe, and then busting their tail in practice. So that's the negative, but I guess that's, like you're saying, that's part of the fight of becoming great.
Yeah.
Mario went through it. you know, and Ben went through it. Everybody went through it.
Yeah.
So that's difficult. So I try to step back and go, all right, like you said, there's something to be learned from it. But the positive is the team, the family that we have, and the negative is just the irritation on I'd like to get those guys going where their dreams are going to take them.
Yeah, you know, and sometimes I've noticed in a fight, it's just one little mistake or one little, you know, you did something a little bit off that maybe you weren't trained to do, you know, and sometimes that's the pressure of the moment and whatnot, and being in those moments will help you get over those things, you know.
What did you think of the energy in the place? It's pretty wild, isn't it?
It is. It is
and
amazing.
so you get in those moments and important fighters, good fighters, and all of a sudden you're so heightened, and the ability to stay cool in those moments is very difficult. We gave up a couple of moments that could have won us fights, and at the highest level in sports, you know, like it's the pass that just touched somebody's finger. Otherwise, it would have been a touchdown.
Yep.
It was 1 inch, quarter of an inch, and so at the highest level, you have to make those moments happen, and sometimes they don't, and sometimes it's them, sometimes it's the other person. Sometimes the other person pretty good.
Yeah.
You know?
There was some good, there was some phenomenal fights.
Yeah.
It was, people left everything on the mat. And you could see, that's kind of like college basketball, you know, March Madness. You know, a lot of people love March Madness. I personally love March Madness because there's a lot of athletes who are never going to be able to go on to the next level, but they're going to leave it all on the floor.
Yeah.
And I felt like everything was left on the mat, both sides.
Yeah.
You know, yours as well as your opponents. And like you said, you won some, you lost some. But there wasn't a bad fight, you know, and there really was a lot of, you could see a lot of preparation, a lot of work went into it on both sides, and that's good. Is there I noticed that we had a lot of fights against the New Mexico area. Do you have a rivalry with any particular?
No, I don't. Know? I mean, some people may.
Yeah.
They may look at it. I don't care.
No.
You know, it's more about what we do. So wherever you get your guy. New Mexico has a very good, with Greg Jackson's school, and Greg's like an icon of the sport, really set the tone for all, I feel like, for all MMA coaches. And Jackson Wink ran the thing for years. And then there's also a few other schools in Albuquerque in that area. So they have a very strong culture. So the trip is back and forth. You can drive it. Yeah. So it's cheaper. So that in LA, they'll get people back and forth from there.
Yeah, it seemed like we had a lot of fighters come out of New Mexico, and you know what, we're ALG's in New Mexico too, so it was great. So I was kind of like, I'm like, sweet, I think
I called Josh when I interviewed Greg Jackson.
Yeah.
And I went to Albuquerque and I pulled into town. I'm like, I took a picture. That's our guy. He's there. I see him. It was awesome.
That's awesome. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, that's a big market for us, and I think it was a big step for us because I think the New Mexico people are strong people and they're fighters. Yeah, and they deal with a lot, and I think we're going to fit well in that market.
Oh, that's great.
Really well. So
I was happy. It was like a little slice of home.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I mean, honestly, I go out there frequently.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so it's a good thing. But I just noticed that, and I was like, oh, this is sweet. I mean, I didn't know if you guys had a rival or not. I was unfamiliar with that. I didn't expect you did because that's not your personality.
Yeah.
I
try to diffuse any of that. Like, it's not important.
Yeah.
The important thing is for us to prepare well and be as prepared as we can, and then find a way to give our best effort when we step in there. If that happens, then we've done everything we can. And it doesn't matter if we're standing across from King Kong. Yeah. Like, whatever. Like, let's do it. Let's find out. I like that.
Yeah. Well, I was hanging out while you guys were up there. I was hanging out with On. Yeah. He cracks me up, man. I love that guy. He's got so much energy.
He's a funny kid.
And he's just he's so into it. And he's so passionate. Yeah. And I think it's great. And that's part of that. I love seeing that. Athletes. I just love, when you're passionate about anything, not just athletes, but even people in general, when you meet them and they're passionate about what they do, it's just, I don't know. It energizes me. It was great.
I point out to my kids all the time, like you go somewhere and somebody's doing their job, but like doing it. Yeah. And they love it. And I dig it no matter what it is. Yeah, I don't care what you're doing. I went to the car wash the other day and the guy that sprayed my window, and he was like happy and super polite. And how's it going? I was like, dude, you are doing great. Yeah. I love that. We should all do our lives like that.
Exactly. Yeah. You know what? It just puts you in a better mindset.
It sure does.
It does. And as a customer, when you're in there, it gives it to you. It's funny. I've actually taught attorneys, and I'm like, smile. They're like, I'm on the phone. I go, if you smile on the phone, they hear it on the other side. You know, there's something to that. You don't have to always be serious.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that's important too.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So let me switch gears a little bit. So tell me a little bit about your personal life. How you're married? How many kids you have?
3 of them.
3.
Yeah.
How old?
One is going to be, she's 21. I just saw her in LA. She's on spring break with her friends.
Where's she going to school?
She's a theater major at the University of Northern Colorado.
Okay, nice.
And then my son is 18, almost 19 next week. He's going to graduate this year. Just finished his last year high school basketball at Sandra Day O'Connor.
Okay.
And then my youngest is going to graduate from middle school. He'll be in high school next year.
Nice. Is he the youngest an athlete as well, or?
Not at all.
No.
Well, he's a pretty good boxer.
Is he?
But he's kind of quiet. He's Ferdinand the Bull. And so hopefully we'll get him in this summer. He really he's a pretty good little striker.
Yeah.
We used to wrestle around. The rules are no headshots.
Okay.
You know, because they trained MMA their whole life. You can't punch each other in the face.
Yeah.
And so only body shots. And he hit me with a body shot last summer. And I looked at him. I go, "Are we fighting? Are we?" And he's like, "What?" Yeah, he hit me pretty hard. So
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to allow body shots anymore.
No, yeah. Listen, our bodies aren't what they used to be either. Man, I take a body shot now, and I'm like, oh my god, that hurts.
Yeah.
I was like,
you don't want to get hit.
Yeah.
So he loves that, and they're all doing great.
Well, good. Well, congratulations on the upcoming graduation then, because that's just
thanks.
a couple of weeks away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's dyslexic, and school is always super hard for him. I'm very proud of him. He's worked so hard. He's kind of a psychopath about it, but like his effort is 100%.
You know what? My brother's dyslexic, and I have a stepdaughter, 10 years old, and she's got some dyslexia.
It's tough, isn't it?
It's tough. You know, and it's tough because they're very bright people, and people just assume because you have a learning disability that you're not, and that's just completely inaccurate, and very frustrating to me. In fact,
once it hits home personally,
yeah,
you think about it, you don't really think about it.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, of course they're smart.
yeah,
And then somebody says something wrong to your little girl, and you're like, what did you just say?
yeah, no, 100%.
It really hits your heart. So it's been a learning process for us for sure.
You know, my son has ADHD. You know, he's 27. He just got married a couple weeks ago, and for a while we struggled. And I remember in middle school he was doing everybody got assigned a certain medical disorder, and he got assigned ADHD. And he comes to me and he goes, "Dad, I think I have this." He's like, "I struggle with these things," and I said, I think you do. I think that's you know what? Let's see. He goes, "Why I'd like to get tested." You know what? He ended up getting tested positive, and then he ended up getting on some medicine that helped him. Our relationship changed.
That's awesome.
It was. I mean, I was no longer yelling at him like, "How can you leave your homework on the counter? We spent all night doing it together. It's perfect, and then you get a 0 because you left it on the counter at home."
You walked right past it.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times he'd come home. Oh, I forgot to turn in my homework, and it'd be in his bag. And it was like, they're asking for homework. All you do is walk to the front and turn. But that was part of that.
Yeah.
And my son's very successful now. He has his own bunness.
Oh, great.
Yeah. And I think it's people learn how to learn differently.
Yeah.
And I just remember that. I still remember that time when he came to me, and it was like, okay, let's figure this out. Let's figure out how to do this. And I see that with my daughter too. She's so bright, so articulate, and so creative. She's an amazing at a lot of different things, and it's kind of like, and I see where she's at in school, and she's butting heads with the teacher a little bit. It's not like they're butting heads; it's just that she needs a little extra time.
Yeah,
and she's not getting the extra time. So we're going to actually make a school change because of that.
Well, that process is hard though.
It is.
My wife and I went to so many meetings to get their whatever the number sheet. I don't remember, but you're going through, and all the teachers are talking about, and he's allowed this, and they can do that, but then asking for it is weird. And it's hard for the teachers because it's just extra time.
It's
and they've very demanding on everybody. Hard.
Yeah. And then the students, they don't want to feel like they're different.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's just a matter of, hey, listen, this is school. This is a small time in your life. If you get what you need out of this, you're going to be able to do what you want in the world.
Yeah.
In fact, my daughter just told me she wanted to go to medical school. She's like, I want to go to medical school, and I think I want to go out of state, maybe New York City. And I'm like, you're 10, slow down.
Yeah. Just take a breath.
Take a breath. I'm going to need more money, though. I'm going to have to start settling some more cases because this has just got real expensive fast.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, and I'm like, but I love seeing that energy and that excitement, and I think that's what's great about, and that's what's great about coaching. I mean, I think, obviously your children are your ultimate coach. You're coaching them up, and you want to, and that's something I love being a dad, and I love doing that, and I think that's why I enjoy coaching as well, and I can't wait to get back into it. And I think you take
being
that to
a dad's
the
a
next level.
thankless job. It's hard, man. I mean, parenting.
Yeah, period.
No, I don't want to leave moms out but it's tough because they don't. You think you're making perfect sense, and you're not making any sense to them.
No, they don't.
And it's years of it.
Yeah, no, I literally just saw something on Instagram or TikTok, and it's like when your kid's 6, dad knows everything.
Yeah.
Your kid's 12. I don't think dad knows everything. Your kid's 20. Dad doesn't know shit.
Yeah.
Your kid's 27. Dad might know a couple things.
Yeah.
Your kid's 40.
Yeah.
Oh, dad's pretty freaking smart.
Yeah.
He really knows it.
Yeah. I'm saying everything he said to me.
Yeah, exactly. And then the kid, and then it finishes off not so happy. The kid's 60, and he's like, I wish dad was still here because I really want to ask him some questions.
Yeah.
But I think that's life. I grew up without a dad, so that was I never had that influence. I had an uncle that's kind of filled that role a little bit on and off through my life, but it was so it's been important for me to kind of to be there.
How has it been? Has it been hard for you being a dad and not having a good role model as a dad?
I think it's hard. I mean, I think I've struggled. My kids will, I'm not perfect. And I say, listen, they don't give you a rule book. No. They don't give you a handbook and say, here's how it is when you have a child. You do your best. You do what you think is right. But they're in that older stage where they're going to tell me everything I did was wrong. So I'm waiting for the 40 stage when maybe dad did know something.
Just counting down the days.
Yeah, I'm literally, my 22-year-old daughter's like, dad doesn't know shit. He's a moron. I mean,
you got the 18-year calendar ticking down the opposite direction.
Yeah, my son's 27, and now he's thinking about having a baby. He just got married, and I'm like, sitting there going, I can't wait. Wait till you yelling at your son. He's running around like a banshee like you used to, and never listen to a damn thing.
The mom's curse.
Yeah.
Hope you get a kid just like you.
Oh, I can't wait. Drop him off. I'm going to fill him with sugar and send him home.
That's awesome.
I just want to say this has been great. I really enjoyed hanging out with you and getting you know better. And the partnership that we have, it's amazing. And I appreciate it because I really enjoy you as a person. I enjoy you as a businessman, you as a coach. And they're all inspirational for us here at ALG, and I think that's something that's really good motivation for us, and it's been it's really been something I've thoroughly enjoyed. I'm glad that Freddie hooked us up, and we were able to,
Well, you're a role model for me, man. And all of our lives we're surrounded by different people, and it's been really great to see your success, and your partnership has meant a lot to us. And so I'm glad you feel like that because we feel the exact same about you. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you coming here.
You're the man.
Well, all right.